Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell. Of course, I am KG Landry, and my co-host, as always, the wrestling enthusiast, Mark. What's going on, man?
Not much, brother. You?
Good, real good. So let's get into it. Let's talk the news for a second. Obviously, the big news right now is that The Rock reported that he won't be able to have a match at WrestleMania 41. This is according to NoDQ.com and as well as Dave Meltzer. Basically, his schedule got too full. That's what they're reporting. My question is this real or is this just the work? What do you think?
I think it's a possible work, but I think this has happened before too, so it's possible.
Yeah. Um, I guess we'll see. We're 6, 7 months away from WrestleMania, so there's plenty of time to involve The Rock in, whatever is happening. Storyline, of course. What do you think about tonight's show?
Well, I want to backtrack real quick. In recapping last week's show, when The Rock came out, I didn't realize that he kind of gave him a, how do I put it, an FU kind of a feeling, because he walked out
Right.
and he showed him, then he kind of went like this, all right, which
Yeah.
is not really a derogatory term, but the way it looked like it was pretty derogatory to me, like kiss off guys or fuck you guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
So I didn't notice that last week. I noticed it on recap this week though.
right. There was video that came out by fans who was right near Solo as he was in the crowd. And it obviously this was done purposely. The person recording was probably a plant, but it was recorded with Solo whispering in the ear of I can't remember which other person it was. I from the bloodline, but that doesn't matter. What matters is he whispered in his ear, "This is all parts of the plan."
Yeah.
This was after Rock came out, so they're definitely leaning that The Rock is going to be with the new bloodline, which you and I kind of both agree that's how we seen it go, how it was going to go. But what's also in the news is CM Punk, going back to CM Punk Monday, when he said that he was going home and he didn't know when he would be back. It was reported that CM Punk will not be a part of Crown Jewel, which is what I thought. So we'll see. Now, I don't know if it's so much of the reasons that CM Punk just needs to rest and he doesn't want to come back, or he doesn't know if he wants to come back, or it also could be that he just does not agree with going to Saudi Arabia for the show.
Yep.
So
that's kind of what I think.
Right. So I'm sure I'm predicting we're going to see CM Punk within 2 or 3 weeks after Crown Jewel. But getting to the show it opened with, of course, the repack of everything that happened at Bad Blood, featuring the return of Jimmy Uso, which they are now calling him Big Jim. I think that sounds terrible. And then, of course, Jimmy Uso, he's the one that opened the show tonight. He welcomed everyone to Smackdown. He said that he's been on the show for 6 months. And he wants to be where his little brother's at because he basically wants to kick his ass. Then, of course, comes Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns said that he was glad to see Big Jim and thank Big Jim, and actually acknowledged, he's actually asked the crowd to join him in acknowledging Big Jim, as what Roman said. I hate the Big Jim thing. I really do. He tells Jimmy Uso that he understands where he's coming from, but he's not an older brother, so he doesn't understand revenge. He said he's not a wise man, so he doesn't come up with creative, manipulative plans. That's not him. He's a tribal chief, and that means he takes what's his. Now, when he dropped the wise man thing, I think that that is hinting, of course, about Paul Heyman. So I'm sure we're gonna be seeing Paul Heyman pretty soon. But the takeaway from this is Jimmy Uso started to hint about his brother Jay coming to help him. He said, "There's only one person that I know that will help us." And then Roman Reigns said, "No yeet." And then what this whole thing boiled down to was Jimmy Uso telling Roman Reigns that he acknowledges him. He will always acknowledge him. He will always be my tribal chief, but you're a tribal chief without, people. And he walked away. That kind of ended that segment. What do you think about all of that?
See now, the big Jim thing, I think it's just kind of a push for main event Jey Uso kind of thing.
Right.
So it's kind of to break away from Jimmy Uso, I guess. I don't think he wanted to get revenge on his brother, because why would he want revenge and then say, well, there's only one person that's going to help us,
Right.
So I think it opens the door for WWE to have another person come in, and I think they just recently hired another one of the family members. I can't remember who off the top of my head, because to be quite honest, they're hard to keep track of. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to open the door for another bloodline member to join Roman Reigns. I don't see Jimmy right now joining. I think it's going to be a Survivor Series kind of match, So not only going to bring in one, no, that would be four then. Yeah, because Roman, Jimmy J, and whoever this next one's going to be, in my opinion. I think it's a boost to the bloodline storyline, but this is kind of getting old to me, the whole bloodline thing. But, the way they're going about it, they bring in a new bloodline member, and Jimmy comes back to it, which I don't see unless Jimmy drops the IC belt. I think it's a good storyline that'll probably go on until WrestleMania, and then, everybody will either unite or just dissipate altogether.
Right. Well, I think you definitely have to have that civil war between the bloodline. Now, I know that one of the Fatu brothers, I can't remember who he is, was just fired from an independent promotion. But there were rumors swirling around that he was actually going to sign with AEW. Again, rumors, nothing confirmed. So that may be a possibility that one of the Fatu brothers comes in and joins. He's the new guy that joins the Roman Reigns. Once they fight one another, the only option that I can see happening is either they do all unite together, or it just kind of goes away and everyone goes their own way, because I don't know what else that they can do with this. Because look, this is the thing. I would hate to see the bloodline start to become like the NWO in the fact that everyone was just joining and it got stupid. Now, granted, this would be all about this dynasty, but like you said, there's so many of them, and a lot of them are wrestling in the independent scene. That you're just going to keep on having them join in two different ones, and they're going to keep on feuding. I just don't see that happening. I think that at some point it's going to go back to Roman and Cody Rhodes for the championship. It has to. And I don't foresee Cody keeping the belt. I just don't. I think that he's going to drop it at some point to Roman Reigns. So it goes backstage and we see LA Knight walking, and of course that's his commercial. We come back to commercial and we go to Carmelo Hayes versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. And then of course we see Andrade he's sitting at ringside for this. And this is what I didn't like about the match. Although Andrade did not get involved, he distracted Carmelo Hayes, which eventually cost Carmelo Hayes the match. The thing I don't like about this is Carmelo Hayes is the fucking heel. And this was almost like a heel move to help a babyface to win. I don't like that in wrestling. I like babyface versus heel. If someone comes out, it's to help the babyface, right? Not to help the heel. That's just me. I'm old school. I just like the wrestling formula, but that's exactly what happens. And LA Knight retains his championship. What do you think about the match?
I'm not a really big fan of Camilo. LA Knight, I think, is somebody they should have acquired probably about 5 years ago. I'm glad he's there. But he's almost at the point where he's past his prime. I would love to see him personally as a WWE champion. I think he had the backing for it at one time. I don't think he does now, but I think he did at one time. I think Camilo Hayes made a good showing of himself today. The whole Andrade thing, I think they're trying to push him as a face. Andrade to me is better heel. I like him either way. I could, to be honest, I can care less. I think he's a hell of a talent. Yeah, I mean, as far as this goes, I think he's going to be a face against Camilo. I think they're going to keep Camilo as a heel. Although Camilo
Right.
plays both. You know,
But this
it was
is
a
the
good
problem.
match,
This
but
is the problem, Mark. This is the problem. Because of Andrade being pushed as a babyface, you've seen Andrade in a heel position because again, he helped LA Knight win this match by kind of just distracting Carmelo Hayes. That's not a babyface move. It's a heel move, and that put LA Knight as also being in that heel position, right? Because he didn't. Yes, he beat him clean in the sense that Andrade did not get involved, but at the same time, he kind of didn't beat him clean because Andrade distracted Carmelo Hayes.
yeah.
So I don't know. Again, that's just me nitpicking, I guess. I'm old school, like I said. I like it the wrestling formula where it's babyface versus heel. If someone gets involved, it's a heel. Uh, so we go to commercial, and then of course they come back, and what we have is Cody Rhodes. He runs into Jimmy Uso backstage and thanks him for Saturday. Jimmy tells him to consider it a favor and says it's family business and give him respect for handling his own business. He said, we got hype for Crown Jewel and that god awful belt. We get a hype reel for the Dakota Jackson and Lash Legend ahead of the tag team match. And then they go to break. Now, this next match that I can care. I don't. I've said this many times. I don't like Jade Cargill being in a tag team with Bella Belair. I think they should be fighting one another. And I didn't like this. They call the Meet of Four. Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. I didn't care about this match. I could give two shits about who won. I mean, are you invested? Were you invested in this match at all?
I had limited exposure to Lash Legend. All right, not really a big fan. This Miss Jackson, I don't think I've ever seen her before, but she kind of piqued my interest. As far as Jade Cargill goes, I think once she's more refined, she's going to be an unstoppable force. I really do. I think she checks almost every box in what they're looking for.
But as a singles competitor, though,
She still needs to be refined, and I think that's why they got her tagging with Blanca. All right.
yeah.
Are they gonna go against each other one another? Yep, absolutely. It's gonna be the Midnight Rockers all over, but it's gonna be a shorter. It's gonna happen
Right.
faster. It's not gonna take 2 years. I predict by WrestleMania they're going to match together or against each other. That's be my guess. Are they going to hold on to the belts till then? I don't think so. But I think probably about 2 months before WrestleMania, they're gonna lose. Well, they're gonna lose before then. They're gonna try to regain it, and then something's gonna happen, and Jade's gonna turn on Bianca, and then they're gonna meet up at WrestleMania.
Yeah. One thing that was also happening during this match was Chelsea Green and Piper Niven was at ringside, and this whole thing about Chelsea Green still stinks because of her dumpster match is fucking stupid. Like it's dumb, and this is the type of bullshit that I hate about professional wrestling. Is they're going to go? It's like really? So you expect me to believe that in over a week's time she's not taking a shower? Because I watched that shitty match and I seen her thrown in the dumpster. She had stuff on her, but it wasn't something that would continuously smell over the next week. It's dumb, man. I mean, do you enjoy this type of shit in professional wrestling?
It's how do I put it? Kindergarten humor, and they're gonna drag this out for 3-4 weeks easily. It's kind of like no different than Mickey James calling her Piggy
Stalker?
James.
Yeah.
And so they're gonna drag this out for 3-4 weeks or whatnot, and that's how they're gonna get their match against Jade and Bianca. I mean,
Right.
that to me, that's what it's leading up to. I enjoy moronic humor, so yeah, I can roll with it. Is it the most adult thing? No, absolutely not. But I can shut my brain off and enjoy the stupid humor, and I will. To be honest, I understand where you're coming from, but someone's still got that middle school mentality.
Right. But this is the thing, and I know I'm not the only one that thinks this way. If there was another wrestling promotion on tonight, at this point, I would have changed the channel to the other wrestling show. And if there were some good matches happening, I would have forgotten to turn back to WWE.
Yeah.
Because it's dumb. This is the 1980s or 90s WWF stupid shit.
Yep.
But again, that's just me. I'm sure some fans like yourself find it funny, and I'm just like whatever. But we see Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax walking backstage, and of course it said it's the commercial. When we came back from commercial, Randy Orton tells Cody Rhodes to calm down. Oh yeah, sorry, I skipped a big old thing. Right before this match, right? We actually see Kevin Owens is in the ring, and he says he's not supposed to be there, but whatever. And Cody Rhodes comes out, and they get into it. They get into that fight. Security breaks them up. Randy Orton comes running down to try to calm these two down. Matter of fact, the commentator makes it a point to say, who'd have ever thought Randy Orton, the calmer one, the one that was trying to calm shit down. He tries to calm Cody down. Then he says, I'm going to talk to Kevin. He tries to calm Kevin down. Kevin ends up accidentally hitting him. Randy Orton then knocks the shit out of Kevin Owens. And then, of course, that breaks into that tag team match that I was talking about. What did you think about this?
You know what? I thought it was great.
Me too.
I knew Randy was going to get hit, and to be honest, ever since Randy came back, 8 months ago or whatever it was, everybody's been like, oh God, he's like 275. I'm like, no, he's not. No, he's not. Tonight he actually looked like he's solid 275, 280, and Randy is probably bigger than I've ever seen him. And tonight, for some reason, it finally clicked in my head. God damn, Randy Orton just built, and he's got to be a good 75. He might even be 280 at this point.
Yeah.
Randy is just jacked, and Randy's probably bigger than I've ever seen him. I like it. I like it. I think, I can't see him going against Kevin Owens. It could come down to that, but again, seeing Randy Orton being the voice of reason, saying, I got this. Nick Aldis saying, who would have thought?
Right.
Yeah, who would have thought? Because it's not Randy. That's not Randy's MO, I guess. But Randy's
Right.
in that stage of his career where, he's going to start putting people over, start passing the torch. Um,
He's having
so
fun right now. You can
Randy,
tell that he's
Randy,
having fun. I think it shows that, he's having more fun now than he's ever had in professional wrestling.
Randy could do no wrong at this point. Randy could
Right.
do no wrong. There's nothing Randy could do where everyone's going to turn on him. He could punch Cody. He could punch Kevin. He could punch Nick Aldis. There's nothing Randy could do. They're going to cheer him. He's almost
But
at that Stone Cold stage, where
right.
he's going to be the anti-villain or anti-hero, and they're going to cheer him regardless. And you know what? Kudos to Randy. He's earned it. He deserves it. I'm not a big fan of people saying you deserve it. But Randy deserves every accolade he gets because, to me, Randy's. God, I think this is the first time I ever said this. Randy's probably, top 5 easily in history.
Oh, absolutely. Now you brought up something. So backstage, they showed Randy again talking to Cody saying, go home, get on your bus and leave. I'm going to talk to KO. But then, yeah, you see Nick Aldis say, imagine that, Randy being a voice of reason. But you mentioned that he could do no wrong. I am predicting that he is going to turn on Cody Rhodes. And it's going all of this with him and KO is going to be a big swerve for Randy to turn heel. Because I think that we're going to see a title match between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. We have to. Their careers have been parallel to one another. They both went to Smoky Mountain at the same time. They both came to the WWE at the same time. Yeah, it's going to happen. And I think because of that, we're going to see a Randy Orton heel turn. And Randy Orton has said that he prefers to be heel, than babyface. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. Next, we see Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. Nia gets on the mic and she gives Bayley credit for the fight that she put up. And she also says that, she even broke a sweat. But just like every worthy contender she's found, she ended up on her back, realizing that nobody on this planet could beat her. She says she's going to annihilate Liv Morgan at Crown Jewel, just like she did Bayley. And then she said that Tiffany Stratton was going to cash in on Liv Morgan, as she grabbed Tiffany Stratton almost in a headlock and shook her up really good. Then Naomi came in and she said the only reason Jax retained her championship is because of her broken down Barbie. And then, of course, that led to a match because Naomi reminded her that she has beat her before, and she challenged her tonight. And then, of course, Liv Morgan comes in. They exchange words, and then we have that match with Nia and Naomi. What did you think about the segment, and what did you think about the match?
Tiffany's going to cash in, but I don't know when. But I don't think it's going to be on Liv.
No, it's Nia.
I think it's going to be on Nia. Now, is it going to be a Crown Jewel? 50-50 in my opinion.
Right.
I think they've got some time to draw this out some more. Naomi, we've talked about this in the past. She just doesn't float my boat. Although tonight she looked good. I like her swagger. I think legitimately she could probably give Nia a good fight. Legitimately. She's one of the fewer that are smaller yet. She's not as small as Alexa Bliss or Liv Morgan or whatnot. So I really could see her giving Nia a run for the money. Tonight obviously wasn't that night.
Right.
Tiffany Stratton, you know what? I'm tired of blonde hair, blue eyed wrestlers. I truly am. But the first time I saw Tiffany Stratton or whatever her name is, I thought, God, this kid's got something, and
Right.
maybe it's her background in gymnastics or whatnot, but she had something. And again, I like her swagger. I think they could utilize her a little bit better instead of being a secondary to Naya. But I do like where the storyline's going.
Right.
But yeah, this kid's got everything. She checks all the boxes too. She's going
Yeah.
to cash in, and yeah, it's going to be an ultimate betrayal against Naya.
Naya.
I don't think going any other way than that.
Yeah. Well, and so the match, obviously, I was surprised. It was a good match. At one point, Nia was out the ring. It seemed like Tiffany Stratton was going to hit her. Raquel jumped in, of course. Oh, I'm sorry. Not Naomi was out the ring. Seemed like Tiffany was going to hit her with her money in a bank briefcase. Raquel jumped in, didn't let it happen. Ultimately, there was interference, and then Naomi was able to. And this was crazy that she was able to um, give Nia Jax a power bomb basically from the ropes, and she beat Nia 1, 2, 3, which supposedly is going to lead to her having her championship match. But I want to go back to what you're talking about Stratton um, turning on Nia and winning the belt. That So, and we talked about this last week at Crown Jewel. If Liv Morgan gives Nia Jax any type of a fight, that's going to annoy me because Nia Jax should completely destroy Liv Morgan. So there's going to have to be some type of interference that I'm predicting Tiffany Stratton is going to hit Nia with the briefcase. So Liv can win the title, and she's going to cash in on Liv. No, I'm sorry, because this isn't for the title. So there's going to be some type of interference from Tiffany Stratton that's going to hurt Nia Jax. So then she can pin Nia Jax and get that belt because she's going to cash in. I keep on forgetting that this is for a special title because there's so fucking many titles. So yeah, I mean, if this happens at Crown Jewel, she's going to have to do something to hurt Nia Jax so she can pin her. Do you think that this is going to happen at Crown Jewel, or do you think that they're going to drag this on longer?
Well, I know that brings up a good point though, because if there's interference, and now hold on, Raquel's going to negate, cashes in, and beats Nia. All right, now say, hold on, how's this going to work? Because this really could bring up a good storyline. Because if she cashes in, she wins. Is she the all crown champ, all jewel crown champion then?
No, because Nia beats Liv Morgan, which should happen. But Raquel Welch, that is that major card that Liv Morgan, I forgot about that she has. But if she beats, of course, Liv Morgan, then Nia would win the Crown Royal belt. But just because she won that belt doesn't mean she can't lose that championship belt because it would be after the match that Tiffany Stratton.
Hold on now. Let's put a twist in this. Okay, Seth Rollins cashed in on Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar during the match. Okay, so if Tiffany calls her chips in during that match,
then she can win it. Yes.
Is that possible? Can you cash in that? Yeah, because that's what Seth did too, right?
Right.
All right. So if she cashes in before that match is over, during that match, it's now a three-way match. Okay, so say Tiffany wins, she takes the All Crown too.
You would. You're right. But it's going to be interesting to see how they do that if they do get her to cash in. Because again, you have to worry about Raquel Welch, right? So would Raquel Welch allow Stratton to cash in that money, in the bank match? Although Raquel really wouldn't care if she was cashing in on Nia.
Right. So, exactly. All right. So then the thing is though, all right, that's a one-shot remove because all Tiffany has to do is hit her with that case and Raquel's out. Okay. Right. And then Tiffany cashes in. So I mean, there's a lot of possibility here. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Would it be nice to see? I think it'd be a hell of a twist.
Right. Yeah. Um, so Naomi wins by pinfall, but then after that, we see Rhea Ripley. She's there, and she runs in and attacks Raquel Welch. And then Liv runs into Nia to the ring. Rhea boots Jax down and takes Morgan down for a punch before turning to blast Dom off the apron as Judgment Day gets away. And I love Rhea Ripley, and I really hope that that they get the belt back on Rhea soon, because I think that she is a much better champion than Liv, and I think she represents the company better than Liv. Um, I don't know. I, dude, I know a lot of people are high Liv Morgan, but I kind of think that she's a one-hit wonder. You know, as far as belt goes, having that world championship. Although she's had it before, I get that, but I don't know. I just don't like her having a belt for some reason.
You know, it's real simple. Rhea's probably a better face for the company, but right now with Dom on Liv's side, Liv and Dom are the moneymakers right now.
They are.
I don't see that as long term, because you know the whole Judgment Day I think is just kind of fading.
Right.
So I don't see Dom being that much of an impact in 3-6 months. You know, I think he's gonna be mid Carter in a year.
Yeah.
So, and hence I think Liv will too. I think that whole thing's gonna just fall upon itself. But right now, as we speak, I think Liv and Dom are the money. You know,
They are as far as the heels go, but at some point,
oh yeah,
there has to be that baby face, payoff where she finally gets her win. So
oh yeah, no, Rhea's gonna get.
We know it's not gonna be at the next pay-per-view, but
no, but it'll be Survivor Series.
Yeah,
I can't see it going beyond that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. I agree. Next, we see Cabello Hayes walking backstage with a bag of ice on his head. And of course, he starts complaining to Nick Aldis about losing this match. He says last time he checked, Aldis says last time he checked, he and Andrade are tied at 3 wins each. And the winner of match 7 may just find themselves in line for a United States Championship. I am predicting that that's going to be Andrade.
Yep.
Do you think that they're willing to take the belt off of LA Knight and put it on Andrade?
That's a tough call because LA Knight's still got a big draw.
And Andrade, he does it. It doesn't matter what they do with him. He never and he's look. I like him. I think he's a great wrestler. But regardless of his WWE or AEW, the fans will pop for him for 1 second, and then after that, he just kind of lose the crowd, regardless if he's a heel or a face. It's like people don't care. What do you think that disconnect is?
Short-term attention span. I like LA Knight. I think, again, I think he's 5 years past the WWE where he should have been. I've always liked LA Knight when he was Eli Drake, whatnot. I always enjoyed his skits. I always enjoyed him on the mic. I always thought he was better than average in the ring, I think. I don't care for his finishing move. I think it's kind of lame. But LA Knight as a whole, I think he's probably 80% there, 90% there. I think he's lost a little of his momentum over the last 2-3 months. I think he probably peaked at SummerSlam, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do I think that, I think when push comes to shove, LA Knight is viewed as a bigger draw than Andrade, whereupon Andrade's a better wrestler, to be honest.
Right.
But as far as, making money, LA Knight Andrade doesn't have that. He's got the ability, he just doesn't have the mic skills. he's a Dean Malenko. You know, I'm sorry, I hate to say it. I love Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko
Yeah.
is phenomenal in my opinion as far as in ring, but as far as mic skills, you know, the Lance Storms
Yeah.
does not have the mic skills. Although his English got a lot better, I think he just needs to be a little bit more refined on how to present himself on the mic. You know, I mean, outside, you know, he dresses impeccable. He carries himself. And it's always held him back at this point. You know, if you just take his ring skills, that guy is second to none.
Yeah. And this is the thing, you know, LA Knight, I don't think he's going to ever get past being a mid Carter. He will never, at least in my opinion, be a world champion. I think that at best he may stay at the point where even after he drops the U.S. belt, United States Championship to whomever that may be to, he may regain that at some point, but he won't go any further than that. I think that he's going to stay exactly where he's at, and that's in mid Carter. I don't even think that they'll even put him in a match for the world title championship. I don't. I think the U.S. championship is where he's staying at.
He'll be an upper echelon of. He'll be the upper of the lower class.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I agree.
so he'll be in the top tier for the world title, but he'll be in the lower class of it. He'll be Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah,
Where they can utilize him as a world title opponent, but he won't get to it.
I can see that. I can see that. So we go back to backstage. You know, Escobar, he's being shown, and he's talking to Aldis, and he says that there's a pattern with Andrade and Camelo having a permanent spot in the title line. Aldis reminds Escobar he came up short when he got a title shot, and he's just waiting for him to bounce back. Santos says he's not just talking about himself, but about Electra Lopez and Los Garza. I don't care. I'm just being honest. I don't care about Escobar or Santos Escobar. I don't care about his group. I just can't.
I kind of agree and I kind of don't agree because I think he's a missed opportunity. But again,
I agree. He's great, but don't care.
I think he's another one that could stand to gain 20 pounds to be a legitimate threat. You know, I'm not a huge fan, and there's the exception to every rule. Not a big fan of these guys that are 220, 215, 207, or whatever you want to call them, or 205 or whatever. Not a big fan. Not a big fan of these guys carrying belts. No, there's an exception to every rule. Daniel Bryan, I think, is a legitimate guy to carry a belt because of his pedigree and whatnot and his ability.
You don't think Rey Mysterio was a legit world champion?
You know, I think based on popularity and putting money in the bank, yes. All right. As far as credibility, no. You know, I can't see Ray taking on guys that are 6'4", 280 pounds and legitimately beating them.
Right.
You know, and again, there's an exception to the rule. I've seen smaller guys take out bigger guys, you know, legitimately fighting, you know, and
well, it goes back to what I've been bitching about when it comes to Lance Storm, when it comes to Braun Strowman. Look, when Rey Mysterio beat the Big Show, the fucking Big Show, at that point, the Big Show lost all credibility at that point as being this giant.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I don't care what people say about how good of a wrestler Ray was, because it was Mysterio that beat the Big Show, I think, for the title. I could be mistaken, but I do know that he beat the Big Show at one point. I cannot suspend my disbelief that much to be like, oh, I can see, yeah, that makes sense. It makes no sense. The Big Show should have crushed Rey Mysterio. And it's the same thing with today's Giants. And it seems like the last Giant who was Cool.
Here,
Real quick. The last giant that was truly dominant was Andre the Giant. It's almost like being a giant today in professional wrestling is almost a curse. But
Andre did some outstanding things outside the ring too. I mean, he holds the world's record for the most amount of alcohol consumed in like an 8-hour period or something. All right.
right,
Andre had freakish strength. He had freakish strength. I mean, I don't think this guy really hit the gym, to be honest.
right.
And I don't think he had to be honest. He had some freakish strength to him. All right. And he legitimately could do some crazy stuff outside the ring. All right. Now, could he flip a semi? Yeah, I don't know. You know, would I like to see Andre try? Sure, I would. All right. But Andre was an exception to the rule because nobody's ever reached the actual height Andre has. Big Show, 7 foot, whatever. All right. Andre was, I think, legitimately 7'4" at one time.
Something
You
like
know,
that.
before all the surgeries and whatnot, I think he was legitimately 7'4", and he was legitimately probably 450 to 500 easily.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
um, so Andre is always an exception to the rule because he was a legitimate giant.
I get that,
McDonald,
Mark.
huh?
I get that, but the fact that like Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed and Lance Archer, I'm about to say Storm earlier, I meant Lance Archer. These guys are big guys, right?
Right,
Not the
right,
size of Andre the Giant, but they're still these massive big guys. And these guys, unlike Andre the Giant, these guys are fucking ripped, right? Maybe not Bronson Reed, but Braun Strowman, Lance Archer, these guys are well built. And the fact that they lose against these smaller guys, I cannot look at them the same anymore as these unbeatable objects.
right. But these guys are big and beefy because they hit the gym.
Right.
Andre, Andre was net. You know what? I'd put money on Andre putting any of these guys down arm wrestling, even with their
Oh,
steroids,
absolutely.
even with their steroids, even with their gym workouts, whatever. And if they're on steroids, great. They're on some GMO or whatever. All right. Andre, I think, would put him down in an arm wrestling match or a physical challenge. I think personally, because Andre had that legitimate natural strength. All right, and these guys don't. It's artificially created through their gym regimen. All right, now are they legitimately strong? Oh yeah, they are. You know, but I think it's more show than actual. It's powerlifting versus bodybuilding. These guys are more bodybuilders than powerlifters.
Right.
You know, so it's
Right.
more for show. Their muscles are more for show.
But they
Now,
still should be. They still shouldn't be beat by these smaller guys.
well, hold on now. All right, because if you take a submission specialist, I don't care if you're 7 foot or not. You get somebody in the right submission hold, it hurts. It hurts regardless. A figure four hurts. If you ever had a figure four slap
But
dance
you have to
match,
get them on the ground to do these things.
right? You do. But how many times you see a little guy take a big guy down by taking out the knees or whatever? You know, um,
I guess.
Yeah. Is it likely to happen in a real fight? Not necessarily. All right.
Right.
But if you know what you're doing, you'll get them on the ground. You know, and so I mean, you get somebody with a good submission background, a Kurt Angle or whatnot, Chris Benoit. I think a legitimate small guy can beat a bigger guy with a submission. Are they going to beat him any other way? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Right.
But with the submission, yes, I fully believe that. But you got to get him in that position to get that submission.
Right. But do you honestly believe, because we're going to soon be seeing a feud between Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins. Do you honestly expect me to believe that Seth Rollins is going to beat Bronson Reed? That's ridiculous to me.
In a 215, 220. Bronson's
Rollins,
350.
maybe
Yeah, Bronson's probably a legitimate 350.
350, 400. Yeah.
No, Bronson should tear him apart. Now with that being said, Seth should put him over because Seth's been on top for what now, 10 years, close to 10 years. You know,
You're right. But this is
um,
the thing. Seth is the baby face. And at the final match, the baby of the feud, the baby face always comes up on top because that's the payoff. Unless it is like a one-off match, like Cena will come in and put over some of the younger guys, right, and then
yep,
leave again for a while. But that's because it's just a one-off. But when you have both of these guys still in the prime of their careers, that match, their last match of the feud, there's going to be a payoff, and Seth Rollins is going to beat Bronson Reed before he goes on to another feud. But
I'm not sure this is going to be a one-off though. I think this could carry on for a little bit. Also, I think Seth's at the point of his career where he doesn't need a title. He's already maintained his status. All right. There are guys that reach certain plateaus where they don't need the belts anymore. You know, Kurt Angle was at that point. Guy who else? Guerrero was at that point, you know, at the time. So I think Seth's at the point where he doesn't need a belt. He's already solidified himself as a main eventer. They can slide him in as a main eventer anytime they want. I also see him kind of taking a lighter schedule because of family. You know, I already see that with his wife. So I think as his daughter gets bigger and she starts school in 2 years or whatever it is,
right.
I could see Seth, you know, taking a Brock Lesnar or CM Punk schedule where they're only at the main pay-per-views, not even doing the secondary pay-per-views. So,
Right.
you know, I think Seth's young enough to walk away at this point and has made enough money where he can probably comfortably walk away. Do I see that as the case? No, I think Seth's still got another 2-3 years in him. You know, whether it's as a world champion, I don't know, but he's already solidified his position. You know, personally, I don't see what the take is for Seth Rollins. I never really cared for him, but you know,
we know that Seth has definitely two feuds. He's going to have one with Bronson, and then you know that CM Punk, when he comes back, that's going to be the feud. Him and Seth Rollins.
That's WrestleMania, though. To me, that's WrestleMania, and I think that's gonna be Punk's swan song, and I don't see Punk losing that match, to be honest. You know,
no, I don't either. So, getting back to SmackDown tonight, we see Solo Sikoa, the next segment. He's cutting a promo, and he's holding the gauntlet of the tribal chief. He says, I hate Jim. Jimmy Uso might be his bigger brother, but he's a tribal chief, and he will acknowledge him. Then we go to a commercial. When we get back, and this is what surprised me, we get another Motor City Machine Guns vignette promising us next week. Man, I'm a big fan of these guys, but I'm telling you, if they're coming in just to be an enhanced talent to get their asses kicked, I'm going to be pissed, because these are two legit badasses. We'll see. Next, we have DIY and the Street Profits. They're bickering back and forth, and Nick Aldis tells them sorry, but that was their shot. And he's got a new team coming next week, talking about LA Machine Guns. This sets off a fresh round of bickering, and eventually Nick, he leaves. We then see that he's caught Kevin Owens kicking the hell out of Randy Orton, and he calls for security to try and separate them. Then we go to the main event. Solo Sikoa, he makes his entrance. Next, of course, we now see Jimmy Uso. This was a good match. It could have been better, but it was decent. What I was surprised about, and you may not have, I was, that we seen Jimmy Uso get pinned on his first match back in 6 months. And then after that, they beat the living shit out of him as we go off the air. You see, well, Roman Reigns came in to help him, and then just the numbers were too powerful. And, you know, Jim and Roman Reigns, they recover. And as they're going off the air, you hear Uso telling Reigns that we need him. As the new bloodline put their ones up, and that was the show. So I know that you said that you don't see Jey Uso coming unless you're there. Hey, Mark. All right, I lost my co-host. Real quick, I think that I know that my co-host said that he doesn't see Jey coming unless he drops the IC title. I disagree. I think that Jey Uso will be coming back to join the bloodline. And then I also think that we will be seeing the Wise Man um, come back pretty soon as well. That is our show for tonight, everyone. Please hit subscribe. I'm going to be doing different interviews with both people from AEW and WWE, and as well as I will be doing interviews with our